Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Greetings, race fans, and welcome to Apex Racing's presentation of the Radical Esports Cup. J.R. Gregory here with you on the call. Beside me in the commentary booth, Mr. Aaron Smith, and in the production carrier, our good friend Joshua Wilkie, and the star of today's show, the Radical SR10. This Radical is one of the purest sports car experiences on iRacing, propelled by a four-cylinder Ford EcoBoost turbo, putting down 450 horsepower and tipping the scales at a full 1,000 pounds lighter than an MX-5 Cup car. And with no traction control, no anti-lock brakes, the SR10 can be a handful, but mastery of this car will make you better in every car that you drive. And folks, we are showing the top split of the public server here, 2100 GMT, as we do every Friday. So this is not a private event, not a league event. If you would like to try your hand at these Radicals, go ahead, show up, sign up, and if you make the top split, you will appear with us here on Apex Racing TV. And the fields have been getting tougher, the driving has been getting better, and the series has been improving year after year, and this season is no exception. And the upcoming schedule includes Zandvoort, Nordschleife, Navarra, Portimao, Donington, Watkins Glen, VIR, I've got that one circled, Road America, Sebring, and Interlagos. But this week we are here at Spa. Francorchamps is outside the Belgian countryside, outside the municipality of Stavelot. This course began life as a racing circuit comprised of public roads, hosting its first race back in 1922. So yeah, you heard that right. Over 100 years of racing here in Belgium. And in 1924, we held our first 24-hour race. And in 1925, the first Grand Prix. This course currently hosts two Formula One World Endurance Championship and the European Le Mans Series. Current configuration we're looking at today, 4.3 miles, 7 clicks, 20 corners, and the current record, a new one this year, set by Checo in that RB Red Bull F1 car. He did a 144.7. And Tom, I managed to get a few laps out of Tom. Or not, sorry. I managed to get a few laps in out here a couple times this week, and as you may know, this is a rescan, and you can kind of see some upgraded graphics here, but they did more than just pretty this track up. There have been some actual substantive changes to the track. The track limits have changed in a couple places, and really what these drivers are having to do in a pretty short time is to relearn this track, which can be a challenge after many of us have done a bazillion laps on the old configuration. So these drivers are going to have to learn and adjust as they go here, and that process, I got to admit, did not go super well for me. Some brake markers I was used to were gone. Some run out area was missing or altered, and some of the racing lines had changed. So it'll be interesting to see how the drivers cope with those changes with this new scan.
Yeah, finally, after years of having this layout in real life, we have it here on iRacing, and the layout that, of course, as you mentioned, they use in some of the biggest series in motorsport. And, well, now we're here today on that new layout. And, well, even though there are some changes, like you mentioned, some track limit changes, these drivers having to get used to slight variations, mainly down to, you know, where you brake into a corner. Like you said, some of them have changed, or some of them have been removed completely, which is not ideal, but it's all part of the learning process. And who has learnt the best today? So far, it's Friedrich, improving on his pole time at the top of the timing sheets with a 2:12.1. And even though these cars are mega quick, it's still an awfully long lap time round here, hence why we've only got 11 laps in the race. But seems to have a very good lap time from Friedrich until Christoph Lipp, of course, one of the best drivers we've seen so far in the European Radical Series, goes to the top of the timing sheets in the 11 seconds now, 2/10 ahead of Friedrich, and that is a statement for that race. But the slipstream here is super powerful, and it's going to be an incredibly close race just across the board. I think if everyone can keep it clean on that first lap, oh boy, we're going to be in for an intense 11 laps.
Yeah, we absolutely are, Aaron. And the strength of field here, I think, is around 4.2K. There were 60 cars signed up for this. So this is the top of 3 splits. And Christoph Lipp into the 211s. That is just nuts. And I often say I'm not Michael Schumacher, Rolf Schumacher, or even Willie Schumacher, but I was pretty proud of myself as I was approaching the 214s. So these guys are absolutely flying, and we're definitely going to see a good race here today, and we're going to have the qualifying results up here for you shortly. But one place I want you to watch is coming off of that Kemmel Straight into the Lacombe's combination chicane there. I think because of the slipstream, what you'll see frequently is the driver in front will try to cover the inside, and the driver behind will have to take that outside entry into the first corner. So that's how you're going to get JR's merit badge from Spa here today. But here is your starting grid. Christoph Lipp with that scorching pole time of 2:11.963 will be lined up to Andreas Friedrich. In the next row, Barry next to Philip Vandenherk, Myron Iani and Kim Andre Bjorklund in 5 and 6, and 7 and 8, Franco Sanchez and Kjetil Larsen. Solly Reitnen will be next to Heinz Braun in 9 and 10. Neb Smith next to Dennis Karakopoulos there in 11 and 12. Then we'll have DeGraff next to Hernandez, Robert Woodward next to frequent flyer Jorge Gonzaga, 15 and 16. Samir Kadura next to Chris Roberts, and Mika Hulkinen there in the back. And my goodness, this is a very high skill strength of field here. You can see by those qualifying laps within a second, I think they were, and very fast at the pointy end of the field. So be pretty interesting to see how this one starts. As you'll recall, they did tweak these standing start races here, and the latest build of iRacing, these cars will have warm tires and warm brakes heading off of the short straight here, where we're going on the short straight between the bus stop and the hairpin. So we'll have a very quick dash down to turn 1. We'll try to get through there as smoothly as possible, and then it's down the hill towards Eau Rouge. So while we wait for the grid to fill up here, we should be getting the lights here any moment. There we go. Yeah, and there is Christoph Lipp in the yellow number 3 machine. He will have the inside line into turn 1, and we are green, and fairly clean start so far. Lipp is going to get away clean. It's going to be Lipp from Friedrich from Barry, and that is Barry sniffing around on the inside, and now Lipp has got Friedrich Barry and Ayani all sniffing around behind him, those 3 teammates. But Lip has gotten away clean, and he's going to be by himself on the entry to Eau Rouge. And I imagine some of these cars, like right there, are going to attempt it side by side. Very risky, easy to get a slowdown here, and easy to have a race-ending crash there as well. But so far, a very clean start by these drivers.
Yeah, very, very clean start. Surprising for Spa, but it's not over yet. As like you mentioned, we head into the Lacombe chicane, and Christophe Lip is down to 3rd. And that is just what happens here at Spa with that slipstream. He was way into the lead. I think he exited turn 1 with about 4/10 nearly, as he got such a good exit, but that slipstream just caught him out. And unfortunately has got James Barry and Andreas Friedrich in front of him. Now, what's going to be the strategy here? Of course, James Barry and Andreas Friedrich know each other fairly well. They're part of the same team. Are they going to work together? Is Friedrich maybe going to help? Who's that going for a bit of a drifting section on the exit? A no name. I believe that was Sanchez fighting with one of the drivers. Managed to keep it on though. So very, very good car control from the Peru driver. And wow, that's still a very, very clean start. I'm honestly very impressed with this whole field. And, well, especially for a track like Spa, which is kind of known for lap 1 chaos, it's still happening here, as this is Bjorklund and Neb Smith, I believe, going wheel to wheel through the middle part of a lap campus and now into Stavolo. Not really an overtaking opportunity usually, but some drivers on this opening lap giving it a go, as Bjorklund losing another place. I think that's to De Graaf, and Bjorklund getting swallowed up by the pack right now.
Yeah, that was a pretty move by Neb Smith. I think they're in the black car, took the outside long way around the first of the 2 corners of that chicane, and that is one of the ways to be successful here. And we may see it here coming into the bus stop. If the front driver tries to cover the inside, it is possible to break deep on the outside and beat your rival to the second apex, and that is really the key to Lacombe. And there is a car around, and that is going to be Bjorklund. Looks like he has stuffed it. We saw him sliding backwards into the barrier, so we'll see what kind of condition that Radical is in as we're coming around and finishing our first of only 11 laps here. And because of that massive draft, it is now Barry from Friedrich, from Vandenherk, from Lip, who is now all the way down into 4th position. And we've got Barry and Friedrich teammates up front, and they're probably on comms working together here. And can Vandenherk make something happen? And now Lip is looking on the inside of Vandenherk. Vandenherk did not cover that off, and Lip is going to be through there easily. And now Sanchez sniffing around, and he wants a piece of Vandenherk, and he makes that work as well. Or does he? Vandenherk fighting back there. Oh my goodness. And I'll tell you folks, this is the top split of some very skilled drivers, and this is the kind of racing that we see week in and week out. Outstanding stuff.
Yep, just about managing to keep it clean. And when I say just about, I do mean it. They are playing with fire. iRacing netcode is being well behaved today, which is a good thing, as Heinz Braun getting very, very close to the back of Neb Smith there. And it's just incredible. All the way from 4th down to 8th, and perhaps the cars behind Hernandez and Graf can maybe get a sniff at this as well. I mean, look at that for a shot. All of those SR10s following through nicely as we head into the middle part of the lap, where this is kind of where you can gain or lose the most time, especially in that dirty air. It can really catch you out if you're not careful, as of course these cars rely on their downforce from both the front and the rear of the car. So you've got to just make sure that you can follow nicely the car in front, make sure you get the benefits of that slipstream. All the way down to Blanchimont we go. Larsson's going to have to look in his mirrors at Smith and Braun, make sure he doesn't get lunged up the inside heading into the final few corners. But around this track as Neb Smith goes down the outside. That's a very bold move from Neb Smith, and he's got it done. Fair play from the Brit. That was an amazing move around the outside. And Braun as well now trying to do the same thing perhaps into turn 1 as Christophe Lip gets the fastest lap of the race so far, as Braun really trying it, or nearly goes into the back of Smith, but just about avoids it and still gets the place. Just incredible stuff from these guys battling it out for P6.
Yeah, epic stuff so far, and Neb Smith has now moved up 5 positions into P6 from his qualifying position of P11, and he has achieved the Spa merit badge that I was speaking about before. He made a couple of moves here now where the driver in front will try to cover the inside of one of those chicanes. He brakes late, takes the outside lane and beats him to the second apex, and he has that down to an art form. Although, as I say that, looks like Heinz Braun has pushed his way back through, and now Smith is going to have Larson and Hernandez sniffing around behind. Braun, a very tough driver and good defender, did not take that line down, stuck with it, and got that position right back. And what is Smith going to do on this next straightaway?
Well, there's only one way to find out, and well, they're giving us some really, really good racing here. This is what we want from Spa in these radical cars. It's amazing to see it for the first time. And don't forget, we potentially have a battle for the lead in a few laps' time if Lip can close up to Friedrich and then Lip attacking Barry. That's going to be very, very good, as Barry, Friedrich and Lip are all fighting for the championship in the European Radical Series, which is going to be here on Apex Racing TV on Sunday. And that's going to be a very, very good race indeed. Again, fighting for the championship, only a few rounds to go. And while they're doing it here today, this is probably practice for them for Sunday, just to prepare themselves for the onslaught that will be that 45-minute race. And James Barry, so far, the one out in front. But could imagine that Friedrich is playing the team game here, as he definitely is helping his teammate along. They're not really fighting each other and just trying to keep Lip behind. But I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to keep the very, very fast German behind them, as well. He is probably the out-and-out quickest driver on the grid.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's amazing to see these cars training up. You see these front five are kind of sticking together and starting to pull out. But even with the leaders beginning to create a bit of a gap behind, look at that gap. It's only 13 seconds among all 18 of these cars. So we've got a high quality field here, and a good opportunity to see some good racing as we begin lap 4 here. And right now it's Barry from Friedrich, from Lip, from Vandenherk, and you got to wonder, and here it comes. Lip, he's going deep. He's going to get a twofer easily here into Lacombe. No defense put up by Barry and Friedrich. And I got to say, on tracks like this with a lot of slipstream, letting that guy past you and being behind in the later parts of the race can be an advantage, as you're kind of a sitting duck up there in P1.
Yeah, 100% actually is. Well, now that you mention that, is it just going to be Barry, Friedrich, Herc, Sanchez? Are they all just going to stay behind one another and just wait until those final few laps, or even just the final lap, to go for that move on Lip? Maybe was it a poor choice from Christoph to go ugly early and go into the lead of the race, have that track position, as well, the slipstream here is just too powerful. No matter how much quicker you are than the car behind, you're probably going to struggle to pull away from them. And especially as all these drivers are very, very quick, they're very close to one another. There is no way that Lip is going to be able to pull away from Barry and Friedrich just on pure pace alone. He's going to have to hope and pray for some kind of incident, maybe a mistake or something along those lines. Or maybe Lip has got something up his sleeve, maybe, a liter of oil that he can deploy the back of his car. But that's the only other way he's going to get it, as here comes James Barry once again round the outside, but doesn't quite get it stopped on the brakes as he wanted to. I'm not sure that was a 100% send from James Barry, and maybe he's just trying to put pressure on Christoph Lip, which actually probably isn't a bad idea.
Yeah, and he may have also just kind of been, I picture driving in heavy traffic and unsure of the car in front of you, just create a little bit of offset in case he stopped short. So it might have been a safety move there. Barry showing his nose around the outside, and now you can see that gap is beginning to build now from those top 5 to P6. Sanchez has got a 1.8 second gap now back to Braun in P6. So Barry, Lip, Friedrich, Herc, and Sanchez are driving off of this one, and Barry has made that pass, and now you see some weaving, and we see some weaving going poorly back there. Is that Braun, who was weaving, trying to break the draft, and that ending in tears? Oh my goodness, that is no bueno. And then a potential bad entry there, and my goodness, stopped cars in the middle of the Kemmel Straight, and it has gone from a pretty good looking race for Braun to disaster.
Yeah, we can have a look at what on earth just happened there. I mean, on a straight, kind of embarrassing. And I mean, you've got to say, that's not on Braun, unfortunately. It's I've got to put the full blame on Larson for that one. That was a gap that, you know, as a racing driver myself on iRacing, I can definitely tell that gap was always going to close. And I'm not quite sure what Larson was thinking. It would be nice if we could pop a little onboard of Larson as well, if we could have a look. And that might give us a bit of a better view at what was going on.
Yeah, very iffy here. And my goodness, that's shades of Azerbaijan there, of kind of inexplicable cars coming together and hitting the left barrier there, having a little bit of F1 flashback. But that is unfortunate for Braun. Was definitely looking good here. And meanwhile, we are back up front again. It's Barry from Fripp. Oh my goodness. Barry from Friedrich, from Lip, from Vanderhoek, from Sanchez, and they are driving away. It's over a 2-second gap now between 5 and 6. Take a peek back here. There is Woodward looking ahead at Cadura and Gonzaga. It's another little mini train that's formed here, and we'll spend a couple minutes with Robert Woodward, and he's looking forward at Cadura, and up front there is Jorge Gonzaga. You may recognize his livery. He's with on that team with Barry Friedrich and Iani, and we'll see what these guys do out on the Kemmel Straight and on their approach to Lacombe. As I said, there is always a huge draft here. The only question is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to cover the inside, cover the outside? And if the guy in front of you covers the inside, can you make that JR merit badge move to the left? And we're going to see Cadura take a crack at it right now, and gets that done easily. Doesn't even have to test the brakes, as Gonzaga looked like he backed out.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Definitely looked like he just let Cadura go there. And I just kind of have the feeling that, in this middle part of the race, most people are probably thinking, there's not much point really just fighting hard for these positions because of the nature of the racing here at Spa. You've just got to be a bit patient and just wait for those opportunities in the later part of the race when you can dive up the inside on the slipstream and then just hope it sticks. And that's probably going to happen on lap 10 or lap 11 here, as Lip managed to get back past Friedrich and Barry. And this is kind of what we're just going to see, these front three. They're just going to be trading positions over and over and over again until we eventually cross the finish line. Who's it going to be on top? Is it going to be Lip, Friedrich, Barry, maybe Hook and Sanchez can sneak their way into this battle if it gets a bit too heated? And as we know, the longer a battle goes on, the more likely it is to end in tears. So you've just got to be patient, be sensible about things. And drivers have to be respectful of one another as well. We look like we're nearly going 3 wide into the final corner, but everybody thought better of it and thought, yeah, we'll save it for another lap.
Oh, that could have been beautiful. Just as you're urging caution and reasonable driving, it looked like we're going to have a 3 wide into the bus stop. But yeah, they thought better of it. And now it is Lip from Friedrich, from Barry, from Vandenherk, and Vandenherk's going to try the inside of the source, and I think he got that done as they head down the hill. So it's Lip from Friedrich, from Vandenherk, from Barry, from Sanchez in that front train. We got about 5 laps remaining, and oh my goodness, James Barry and Vandenherk side by side through the tough corners at the top of the hill, and oh my goodness, a little rub there, and this is kind of giving me the heebie-jeebies, Aaron. I'm not sure what's going to unfold.
Yeah, no, neither do I, but it's brilliant stuff as these guys go wheel to wheel once again. Sanchez fighting for P3. More contact there as Barry just about survives and still attacks Sanchez and manages to hold on to that rostrum place, as Sanchez now has to think about who's behind him, as Vandenhoek now tries to look around the outside here at Brussels. Very, very close between these two. The outside line not really working there for Philip Vandenhoek, as he just has to settle back to 5th place. But now it's just going to be between the top 2, as Barry has really fallen behind after those few corners. And now Barry has to look to Sanchez and Vandenhoek for the podium, as Friedrich and Lip battle it out at the front for that top step of the podium.
Yeah, and cheers to Barry, kind of giving Sanchez a taste of his own medicine there. We've seen Sanchez driving it a little rough, elbows out in some of these races, and Barry giving it right back to him there and kind of knocking him offline through Lacombe. So Barry is going to maintain that position. Friedrich from Lip, from Barry, from Sanchez, from Vandenherk. But notably, Aaron, as you said, that gap from Lip back to Barry, now 2 seconds. So Friedrich and Lip now in a position to completely drive away, leaving those other three, Barry, Sanchez, and Vandenherk, to battle for P3. And I know that James Barry did not want the race to take this turn. You really have to stay with the train. If you miss the train, Aaron, you're going to be late for work.
Yeah, that's probably actually the most perfect way I could have summed that up, actually. So fair play, Gregory. That was a really good analogy, actually. But yeah, James just probably kicking himself there and just thinking, oh, for God's sake, I've done it again. And now he's got to fight really for tooth and nail for that third place. As further back, this is Bjorklund up the inside of Hulken, and that looked fairly textbook. And now Bjorklund, who we know is a fairly nifty driver, of course, just had a difficult start to this race, and now he's fighting his way all the way back through the field as Lippen, Friedrich, Sanchez and Barry and possibly Vandenherk get involved in their battle. You could possibly say Bjorklund could get all the way up to 8th place, possibly. I'd say that's going to be his best chance at saving any iRating, as here's the replay that I unfortunately can't see.
Yeah, that is breaking up a little bit on me as well. I think we're taking a look at, taking a look at Bjorklund not able to keep it between the lines here, but still able to continue. And Bjorklund has down 8 positions. He is definitely having a rough one, dropping 8 from his qualifying position of 6, finding himself now in P14 as we watch a train now of looks like Reitnen, Kadura, Hulkinen, Bjorklund, and Roberts, and Kyriakopoulos there taking up the rear. You see him off in the distance, and I got to say, Aaron, it's pretty thrilling to see these radicals run around this course at night. I like it when they throw in some night races to these radical series.
Yeah, it does throw a little bit of a spanner in the works, and well, God forbid the day that we get rain in this series. That's going to be interesting, to say the least. Rain mixed with night as well. That's just nightmare fuel, to be honest, thinking about it. But for now, we've just got this beautiful spectacle. Like you said, a night race is always a beautiful one, no matter if you're driving up and down a country lane or in a sim race. It's always entertaining. Hello, we've got another battle here for P3, as Barry has now fallen to the back of this 3-car pack, all the way to 5th place, as Vandenherk managed to get back past, and Sanchez leading the train as we head on to lap 9 out of 11. So just 3 laps to go here at Spa, and it's rather flown by so far, as it's just been good racing. We've not really had any incidents at all. We've had, the big one with Larson and Braun, but apart from that, it's been really, really clean. And, just hats off to all of the drivers for giving us some really, really entertaining racing, as Lip and Friedrich doing their little trading. This is honestly like a Pokemon trading card game at this point. They just keep on going back and forth, trading the same positions over and over again, until eventually on that last lap it's going to get spicy, as Barry now up the inside as he goes past Sanchez and Vandenherk. And this is all it's going to be, just constantly trading places every single lap, who's going to be where, and you just have to time it perfectly. Honestly, you want to be at the back of the pack going on to the last lap. You have the best chance to slingshot your way past and get into, well, whatever place you're fighting for.
Yeah, too right, Aaron. And I got to say that back and forth between Friedrich and Lip, trading back and forth between 1 and 2, that has allowed them to completely drive off. And I got to say that Barry may be thinking twice of fighting with Sanchez instead of just letting him through, slowed them both down, and broke the draft to these front 2 who are now disappearing into the distance. And if I could just point out these lap times really quickly, the fast laps, there are 3 cars into the 211s now, Aaron, and 2 more, Sanchez and Vandenherk, are tickling it just a couple hundredths away. Folks, that is absolutely flying around here, absolutely nuts. And as usual, we have some of the best Radical drivers in the world joining us here at our 2100 GMT broadcast, and that is just one reason why they should never be missed.
Yeah, 100%. These races are always fantastic entertainment. No matter what time, no matter where, no matter what track. And it's just absolutely brilliant. Here's Neb Smith as well. Just about holding on to that 6th place. Friedrich has managed to suspiciously pull away quite a good gap, actually, up at the front. It's not going to be enough. Lip will still be in that slipstream. And will probably be right at the back of him once we get down to the Lecombe chicane. But yeah, maybe Lip just having a bit of a tough time in these last few corners, just struggling to keep up with the pressure as James Barry goes on the defensive again against Sanchez. Vandenhoek's a little bit further back, perhaps going into the Lecombe chicane. Barry can come back at these two, as Vandenhoek I don't think will have an opportunity to try and fight this one, but here is Barry on the outside. I don't think he's quite close enough to put a challenge on Sanchez, so going on to the last lap then, it looks like it's going to be Sanchez from Barry from Hook for 3rd place. And this huge chunk of cars, that's an off there for, I believe that was Reitinen, who got beached on the outside curb there and now has just caused the 4 cars behind him to overtake him. And look at Bjorklund trying to go around the outside. I told you he might be fighting for this 8th place, and look how close he is to this huge chunk of cars.
Yeah, that was nuts. Reitinen was right there, looking like he was going to give Gonzaga a fight, and just a small error, and suddenly he is swamped. And, that's what happens in these radicals. These trains form up. The cars are 0.3, 0.4 tenths apart, and just a tiny error, and you're suddenly swamped. So you really have to be consistent, really have to be precise in these races. And really one of the challenges, just small errors are really difficult to come back from. But having said that, certainly the slipstream can help erase those mistakes in a hurry as well, if you can just stay within that drafting distance.
Honestly, the draft here is, I think it probably is the most important draft in any track, probably. I mean, there are a couple other candidates for that, probably Le Mans, Daytona. But this, you just have to have the draft. Otherwise, it is just game over for the cars in front. They'll just romp away if you're not careful. But here we go then. One more tour of Spa-Francorchamps as we are on the white flag lap here as Lip again. Really, really struggling. Very, very weird. And I don't think going into Lecombe he's going to be close enough. He'll probably be about 2 tenths. I mean, I could be completely wrong and Lip will get a huge slingshot here, and I have the dreading feeling that I am wrong as he is gaining super, super fast. Here we go then, down into the Lecombe chicane. Is it going to be close enough for Lip? Was this all planned from the beginning for Christoph? Round the outside, he tries to go. It's probably the best line into this first few corners, and he gets it done ahead of Andreas Friedrich, and that is why Christoph Lip is one of the best drivers in this series. That was perfectly executed, perfectly planned, and that is a strategic masterclass from Christoph Lip. But it's not over yet. We do still have about half a lap to go. Here is another battle going on further down for P8 as Reitinen desperately trying to defend from Leon Hernandez, Gonzaga and Bjorklund as well, all in this train of cars. Just desperately trying to get those last few points, those last few iRatings that will be so, so crucial. Reitinen weaving all over the place as we head down into Pouhon.
Yeah, great stuff there. My goodness. And looking at Reitinen now. Reitinen's got Hernandez, Gonzaga, and Bjorklund trailing him. You see Hulkinen coming up behind, and these cars kind of suck together like they have a invisible rubber bands when that draft goes to work. And meanwhile, up front here is Lip from Friedrich as they're approaching Blanchimont. Will Friedrich have a chance here into the bus stop? The draft is working here just as it is every other part of the track, and Lip is going to allow Friedrich around the outside. Can Friedrich outbrake into the bus stop, beat Lip to that second apex, and he gets it done. That is the JR merit badge right there from Spa. And it's a photo finish at the line. and it is Friedrich by 4/1000ths of a second. Holy cow, what a race.
That is the closest finish we have had here on the Radical Esports Cup in a long, long time. That was utterly brilliant stuff from the top two. Hats off to both of them. They have done an amazing job. Oh my lord. Let's not kill each other on the last lap as Chris Roberts and Heinz Braun going wheels to wheel. I believe that's Braun on the attack of Roberts, but he managed to get the overtake done as Roberts doesn't have his headlights on. He'd definitely get stopped by the police for that, and he loops it round at the last corner just to finish it off. So fair enough from Roberts. It's not a great end to the race, but fair enough. But just wow. Utterly wow. I thought Friedrich had that one in the bag, but it wasn't as comfortable as he'd like, but just wow. Just incredible from the top two.
Yeah, that was crazy. Now watch Friedrich braking deep on the outside here into the first part of the bus stop. Stays beside, beats Lip to the second apex there, but Lip gets the power down better. And my goodness, great replay, Josh. That is what 4/1000ths of a second at the line looks like at Spa. And aren't you glad that you tuned into Apex Racing TV for this one? This is the kind of stuff, folks, we see every week. And oh my goodness, hopefully we can get one or both of those drivers into the booth here for interviews once we finish our results, but we're going to have those up for Aaron to run through with you here in just a moment. Wow, what a race.
Just actually, I believe that was wrong. Looking on iRacing here, just going into the results, I think they finished at the exact same time. iRacing is telling me it's 0.000 and Lip actually won. I am baffled. I think they might have finished at the exact same time, you know, honest to God. I have never seen that in my entire life. So yeah, it's according to iRacing, it's Christoph Lip taking the victory. Apparently, maybe there's a fourth digit somewhere, or maybe it's just iRacing. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, Christoph Lip winning the race. Utter shock and awe here, as Andreas Friedrich probably absolutely heartbroken to lose at literally the last millisecond in P2. And well, we're gonna just go through the rest of the grid, but they have no idea what we've just seen up at the front of the field. But anyway, it was Franco Sanchez ending up as the driver who finished third, so he managed to hold off the two drivers behind him. Great battle for third in the end, as Barry fourth, Vanden Hoek was fifth. Neb Smith had a great race up to sixth. As you can see, the run to the line in the background is just... I've never seen anything quite like that in my whole commentating career here on iRacing. That is something to witness, and everyone here should just screenshot this moment and take it in, because they don't happen often, especially in official series. But yeah, anyway, here's the rest of the grid. You've got De Graaf in P7. Reitinen wins out that huge train of cars in P8. Gonzaga ended up in 9th. And then in P10 was Leon Hernandez. Holkinen in 11th. Bjorklund 12th. Cadora was 13th. Woodward 14th. Kira Kapolis in 15th. Braun 16th. Roberts in 17th. Larson was 18th. And then Maroniani, I believe, had some connection problems, who finished in last and 19th place. So yeah, wow, I'm in pure shock. I don't, yeah.
I'm saving this replay, and I'm going to go to work with screenshots and maybe a little Photoshop of these two cars at the line and zoom in on those splitters. Look at that finish. That is absolutely insane. So let me just take a quick look here as I'm still recovering. And we do have Lip and James Barry waiting in the interview room. So we'll go ahead, Aaron, and bring in Christoph Lip, and you can check in with him about that finish.
Well, I mean, there's just a million questions I want to ask Christoph. I mean, first is, what the hell? How do you feel after that? Just what on earth just happened? Finished?
Yeah, big smile. Of course, was a really fun race, and the finish was super close. But I really have to say Andreas is a great racer, super fair. No trouble through the last corners, and he left me a lot of space. I left him enough space, and that's super fair. And the finish was so close that I don't know even who won in the end, because I've seen on the broadcast he was ahead of me, and I have seen on my screen that I was ahead of him. So you tell me who won.
I think it is you. We're going to go with you because iRacing says you've won, and yeah, we're just going to go with that. And I think you might have just had your splitter ahead at the end, I think. But either way, it was just super close, and it was fantastic racing from you two. But just, throughout the entire race, just talk us through your mindset, because it wasn't easy at all. You had, the likes of Friedrich and Barry to worry about at the start. What was your initial strategy to win this race?
To survive in the beginning and see what the others will do. For me, it was clear that I cannot drive away from these guys, never. With this draft, and they have at least the same pace, even if it's what they didn't show it in the qualifying, but was clear I cannot drive away, so I was just staying calm and see what happens. And luckily, a gap opened behind me in the third or fourth lap, and then I worked together with Andreas pulling away, and we both waited for the end. And you've seen what happened. Was really cool.
Well, cool is an understatement. It's the damn just most amazing thing I've seen in my commentating career, doing Bradicals. So, congratulations on winning the coolest race I've ever seen. But, after this intense race at Spa, we go to Zandvoort next week, which probably won't be as chaotic as this. How are you feeling for that track?
Before we go to Zandvoort, Sunday race will come in the European Championship, the America guys as well. So I'm looking forward to that one, where we have another 2 races here in Spa. And after that, Zandvoort is also a cool track, but at the moment I don't think about that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sunday's race is going to be super cool, and obviously we wish you the best for that race. And thank you for coming and having a quick chat with us, Christoph. As always, before we want to let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, of course. To Andreas, once more, thanks again for the fair fight. It was cool racing. Next time he will be more lucky, and his splitter is bigger than mine.
Yeah,
see you
definitely. Thank you for coming and having a chat with us, Christoph, and congratulations on the very close victory.
Yeah, thanks guys. Bye.
All right, that was your winner, Christoph Lipp, and he won with straight zeros showing across. So if there is a 10,000th digit is tracked by iRacing, there he must have won by a couple of 10,000s, because all we saw was zeros across the board. That was insane. And meanwhile, joining us in the booth are our P4 finisher, James Barry. James, what if you had any idea the madness that was going on up and down the grid? I know you're in the middle of some of it. So what were your impressions of driving on this new scan of Spa this week?
Yeah, there's always madness here, isn't there? The leader can change every lap. It's no surprise to hear you say that there was chaos, so I look forward to seeing that in the broadcast. And for me, it was obviously a tactical race, and in the end I kind of lost that tactical battle when I made a little mistake, and then Philip decided to attack me, which was really silly in my opinion, but oh well. You can't really control what other people do, and so I just got sucked into that race the race for the podium. And it was a fun race, and Franco did really well at the end, so fair play to him.
And on the topic of the new scan, could you share a little bit about the adjustments that you had to make? My own experience is that some of the lines change, some of the track's limits change, but I certainly don't drive at your level. So what kind of adjustments did you have to make to settle in to this new configuration? How long did it take you to do it?
There's not much difference. The only real difference is in Les Combes at the end of the Camel Straight, where the curbs are a bit different. Everywhere else, and there's also the corner before Pouan. That's a bit different with the curb on the inside, but everything else, it's just about track limits. So it's there's less 1x for off tracks, because there's gravel on the side of the track now, which makes it a bit, I don't know, I prefer where there's more of a skill in keeping it on the track limits, but it's a nice scan. It's pretty much the same, to be honest, so there's not much to say.
Interesting. And I guess my last question is, these are fixed setup races, and it seems like this setup is fairly conservative with a lot of wing. Would you have preferred a little less wing and a little more speed on the straightaways for this race?
Not necessarily. I think it's okay. In this car, you could take 1 or 2 clicks off the rear wing. But obviously iRacing want to kind of keep it as kind of casual friendly as possible for people who jump into the car. So it doesn't really matter. As long as the gearing is set correctly, that's the important thing.
All right, for sure. Okay, James, well, thank you for coming by and speaking with us. And as we wrap it up here, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to today?
Yeah, I'll just shout out Christoph and Andreas for the race at the front, and obviously we're going to go, as Christoph was saying, into the Sunday race in the European Championship with the championship kind of to play for with 2 races left there, so really looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah. And just a reminder, folks, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, definitely join us on Sunday afternoon. We're going to have more radical racing here at Spa and 2 different league events, the Americas and European Championship that James is referring to there. So, all right, James, well, thank you so much as always for coming by and sharing your insights. Good luck on Sunday, and we'll see you then, okay?
Oh, yep. See you there. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Cheers. All right. So that is our presentation for today, folks, and still kind of shaking off the adrenaline of that ending. But we are not just about radicals here on Apex Racing TV. We have got some of the best cars, best drivers, and best tracks in the business on YouTube pretty much 7 days a week. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and also don't forget to tick the notification icon so that you don't miss any of the action. And if you enjoyed watching these radicals fight at Spa, have I got good news for you. On Sunday afternoon, as we were saying, there is more radical action here. Both the U.S. and European Radical Sim Racing Championship Series will be here back-to-back at Spa. Each one of those events will start with a 15-minute heat race, followed by a 45-minute sprint race with a mandatory pit stop. So it definitely throws some additional strategy, some additional action in. So if you enjoyed this race, join us Sunday afternoon for more of that. And if you get a peek at the back of the U.S. grid, you may get to point and laugh at yours truly Sunday afternoon. And on Monday, the Rick Matek Mini Mite Championship Series returns to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the road course. And on Tuesday, round 6 of Operation Motorsport E-Motorsport League will be again here at Spa. So Aaron, and I will call you Aaron instead of Tom, please forgive my mistake earlier. As we look forward to Zandvoort, you know, I really love that track. I grew up, my early performance driving days were kind of in the back roads around my home in Gainesville, Florida, with lots of sand, hills, blind corners, things of that nature. Zandvoort kind of reminds me of that. So I have a soft spot in my heart for tracks like that kind of feel like public roads. So how do you think these radicals are going to do there at Zandvoort? I don't think we've seen them there before.
I don't think, well, not in a while anyway. I think you're right on that. Zandvoort isn't really a track that gets used in these radicals too often. I think it'll be a pretty good race, to be fair. I mean, it's obviously going to be not Spa. It's not too slipstream heavy. It's got some moments here and there, like the exit of the second to last corner is pretty much a run all the way down to the first corner. But I think it will just be more about qualifying than anything. Track position is very, very important there. And I kind of get what you mean. It does feel a little bit reminiscent of some of those American tracks that you're on about. But yeah, I think it will be another good race, as these radicals usually are.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to driving that one as well. Something about the rolling hills, and there is that long straightaway that they've added the NASCAR-esque banking to that last corner onto the straightaway. So we should see a little bit of slipstreaming there and some conflicts heading into turn 1, and a couple of places too where the cars have to whoa way down in low speed corners and accelerate smoothly out of those low speed corners, which can be a challenge with the lack of anti-lock brakes and lack of traction control. So join us, won't you, next week at Zandvoort, back here at 2100 GMT. So that is going to do it for us here today. Thank you so much for joining us, Gregory, on behalf of my partner Aaron and our producer Josh. And thank you for joining us. Have a fantastic Friday and an even better weekend.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.